Imagine standing in the chaos of a battlefield. One moment you're facing cavalry, arrows, or melee weapons, and then suddenly something monstrous rolls, flies, or blasts into view. What would your gut reaction be? Shock, fear, awe? Today, we're traveling back in time to explore 5 chilling, real responses from people who saw new weapons for the very first time. These aren't dramatizations, they're genuine moments of terror, confusion, and wonder. So let's begin our journey, where innovation collided with humanity's oldest instinct: survival. The elephant in the field, Hannibal's war elephants. Our first story takes us to the Second Punic War, around 218 BC. Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca faced the Alps, a frigid, unforgiving mountain range, with a plan no one expected. But even more stunning, he brought elephants across it. To his Roman adversaries, these beasts were creatures of legend. Colossal, trunk-bearing mammals capable of trampling infantry and sowing panic among horses. Picture the shock. Romans trained to expect cavalry, Leonidas fighting with spears, but suddenly enormous tusked creatures appeared. Reports say some Roman soldiers turned and fled, while others froze or simply fainted. These elephants weren't just animals, they were war engines and nightmares, reshaping terror on the battlefield. The terrifying thud, the first cannonball, fast forward to the 14th century. Europe is still dominated by castles, archers, and knights in heavy armor. Then came gunpowder, and with it, the cannon, a handheld rocket launcher of its time. According to medieval chronicles, the very first cannon shots were terrifying. Imagine standing behind thick stone walls, confident in your defense, when boom, a deafening explosion, a massive stone projectile tearing through. Men claim they saw the walls vibrate and even small fractures appear mid-shot. One observer described the scene: a thunderbolt from a box, followed by screams and wild chaos. Archers fled, fortress morale disintegrated, and the age of castles crumbled under that deafening roar. Shock in East Asia. Japan meets the arquebus next. Our tale takes us to Japan in the 16th century, during the tumultuous Sengoku Jidai, Japan's warring states period. Samurai warriors, masters of the sword and bow, ruled the battlefield. Then, around 1543, Portuguese traders washed ashore on Tanegashima, sporting matchlock firearms, arquebuses. The samurai watched in disbelief as common foot soldiers wielded the gun with ease. These weapons did not need years of training like a bow. They could kill with a single shot. One samurai wrote, "The peasants now hold power in their hands." Archers who had trained since childhood found themselves made obsolete overnight. The arquebus shifted power, contributed to the rise of Ashigaru infantry, and forever altered Japanese warfare. Native Americans versus muskets, first firearm encounters. On to the 17th century, the early colonial Americas. Native American warriors had perfected the art of bow and arrow across generations. They knew forests, knew cover, knew primal warfare. Then European colonists brought muskets, loud, replicated, lethal, but slow, cumbersome, and inaccurate at first. Imagine hearing a gunshot for the first time. The shock, the plume of smoke, the staggering recoil. To many native warriors, it felt magical. Arrows that fly through trees, strike without warning, and kill from afar. Yet they also found weaknesses. Muskets took time to reload, misfired in rain, and required ammo. This clash led to adaptation and cooperation. Some native peoples adopted firearms, while Europeans learned bow tactics. A legendary example, At the Battle of Blood River in 1838, Zulu warriors noted the effective reach of muskets, but still believed their disciplined spear charges could breach positions before rifles could reload, as one warrior later reflected. Blitz terror, the V1 Doodlebug. Over London now, we move to World War II, June 1944. The skies above London darken with a new terror, the German V1 flying bomb, nicknamed Doodlebug or Buzz Bomb. Not a person in sight, yet death hurled forward. The V1 had no pilot, no hesitation, just a buzzing pulse jet humming across the skies. Civilians described its first strikes. That moment the hum stops, you realize, it's coming down on you. One woman recalled, it came roaring overhead and then nothing until the trembling, then flames. Anxiety on the home front spiked. You couldn't outrun it, couldn't see it approach, and anti-aircraft guns were the only defense. These mechanical missiles spread terror differently, constant, impersonal, inescapable. These 5 moments share a theme: fear born of the unknown. Elephants that crushed walls and lines, cannons that shook fortresses, arquebuses that stripped training from its value, muskets that brought monsters to forests, and doodlebugs that attacked silently from the sky. Each weapon broke the expectations of what warfare, or even safety, looked like. Conclusion. What unites all these stories isn't just the bomb, the gun, or the elephant. It's the psychological fracture. People confronted with something never seen before entered a moment of primal terror. Our minds need patterns, repetition, predictability. When those are ruptured, survival instincts kick in. Fight, flee, freeze. History moves fastest when technology surpasses our mental maps. Yet every time, societies adapted. We built better defenses, trained soldiers, developed counter-tactics. We normalized the new, and eventually history moves on. Longbows gave way to rifles. Cavalry were replaced by tanks. Rocket attacks replaced bombers. But let's not forget how raw those first encounters were. Brutal, chaotic, terrifying. In those moments, people felt overwhelmed by a world that suddenly didn't make sense. And yet, that terror carved paths for progress, strategy, and new stability. So, next time you flick on a modern weapon, drone, or missile defense, remember, for the first pair of eyes that ever saw it, it was more than technology. It was terror, that visceral, elemental fear, that rupture between past and future. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history's shockwaves. If you've enjoyed stepping into these moments of terror and wonder, hit subscribe and dive deeper with more stories where humanity meets the unexpected. Until next time, history is never just the past. It's our shared adventure.